Good morning. So a little bit easier today than yesterday. We're up to Shin Samach Hey Seif Dalet. Says the Mechaba. Mutar lishtamish tachas haKorah or keneged halechi. So you've got a regular case of chatzeres and then a Mavoi, and the Mavoi is nita has been remedied by either having a lechi or a Korah at the front. You're allowed to sit underneath the Korah or keneged the lechi. That is only when the Mavoi is opened up onto a Rosh Hashanah. But if it's opened onto a Karmelis, also bein tachas haKorah, bein keneged halechi, on either of those spaces, because that area joins onto the Karmelis which is next to shemotza min es minoi v'neir. The two Karmelis and Karmelis, which is, so it comes out, it's more chomor than if it was a Rosh Hashanah. It applies the phrase from Issa v'heta of motza min es minoi v'neir. Yeah, interesting. We'll see this far in the Mishnah Berurah. Sif cotton chof hey keneged halechi rotzalema bein shetikun hamavoi b'Korah, whether you fixed up the Mavoi with a Korah or belechi, mutar lishtamish kenegdo miu. Yesh poiskim desovrim the dafka k'zeh hamokum shekeneged halechi lo hoya boish k'shia arba tfachim. Some say that that's only when this area, which is keneged halechi, has not got a share of arba tfachim al arba tfachim. The oz bottle agavi pnim, because then it's considered bottled to the inside, to the Mavoi, or mutar lishtamish tachto, when you can use underneath that area of the Korah or next to the lechi. V'chein lahachnis misham lefnim, and take from that area inside. Avol k'shiesh b'zeh hashetach arba al arba v'kol shken yoseh. But if the area we're talking about is more, or at least 4x4 or more, nechshav zeh hamokum k'karmelis, is considered, this area is considered like a karmelis. The inyan she'also the talta boy rak toich arba amos, that you can only carry daled amos in it. And so too, to take from it to either Rabbi or to Yochid would be also. They say no, it doesn't make a difference. The area connected the lechi or underneath the Korah is mutar for Seivrim. It doesn't make a difference, even if it's a bit more. It's considered bottled to the Mavoi, which is it's leading on from. Avol pasuach b'karmelis. But if this area is now, the Mavoi is leading onto a Karmelis, Afal Gav de Ba'alma Karmelis Kilmish Surabim, yeah, that's your raised eyebrows, you'll see, that even though normally a Karmelis is considered more lenient than a Surabim, Mikal Mokum Le'inyan Zeh Amrina Motza Min Es Minoi V'nei. Nevertheless, we say the concept of Motza Min Es Minoi, Pirush, to calm this Shebein L'chayayim, this Karmelis which is between the two lechis, Af im lo haya boy shir Karmelis mitchil, even though it didn't have a shir of a Karmelis originally, shelo haya arba al arba tvachim, because it wasn't 4x4 tvachim, motza min es minoi, it sort of finds its counterpart, its other Karmelis, shechutzule v'neir mishnosoi, v'nischazik l'sarav l'Karmelis shebesidoi, it sort of wakes up from its learning, or, from its sleep or whatever, from its sort of its status, its defunct status, and it suddenly resurrects itself and becomes like a Karmelis to match up with the Karmelis next to it. For shame Karmelis Olov, and it has now a status of a Karmelis, for also the Shtamish Tachtov, the Gam Lachnis Lefnim, and you can't therefore carry underneath it or inside, from it to inside. If, however, it was in contrast, if it was open up to Rosh Rabim, shu'enim klal, it's a different entity. Einem itztarf imo bottle agavi pnim. Okay, bein tachas haKorah. Now, over Sefer Eli Rabba, mitzadid lahokal ishtamish tachas haKorah, afilu pasuach l'karmelis. Eli Rabba says no. If it's leading on to a Karmelis, where we were just a bit more strict, and we said motza min es minoi, that's only with the lechi. But if it's tachas haKorah, the Eli Rabba says it's okay. V'chein pasuk v'sefer Even Ha'ezer v'pratz im haKorah rechava arba tfachim. Certainly, if the Korah was 4 tvachim wide, of bria lekabel ma'aziva, and it's strong enough to hold a ma'aziva, this pipe. Bavadai muta afilu pasuach lekarmelis the pitikr yer v'soisem v'chashiv mechitza. We say pitikr yer v'soisem, and it stands that at the front, and therefore the Eli Rabba will allow you to carry underneath the Korah, even if it butts onto a Karmelis. Okay, good. So what have we said in Dalet? We've said that when you've got the structure we're talking about till now, the Chatzeres and the Mavoi is leading on to Rosh Rabim, then you're allowed to, and you've got a Korah and a Lechi fixing up your Mavoi, you're allowed to use the area under the Korah or next to the Lechi, but that's only if there's a Rosh Hashanah outside. But if it's a Karmelis outside, then not, because Motzim is Minoi. But the Eli Rabbah says that that's only regarding the area next to the Lechi, but it's underneath the Korah, then even that would be allowed, even if it's a Karmelis outside, because Pitikri Yered V'Seisim. Good. Hey, Sif, hey. Af al Pi. Even though you're allowed to use the area Tachas HaKorah, nevertheless, lo yeshev adam b'reish hamavui v'chefetz b'yadei. Nevertheless, a person shouldn't sit b'reish hamavui and holding something. Shemi yisgalgal ha'chefetz miyadei l'sharabim, because maybe something will fall out of his hands. V'yivienu elav, and he'll bring it in. Kivin she'ein heka bein l'sharabim, because at the end of the day he's sitting under a korah. There's no real heka between him and the Rosh Hashanah. Aval al Pesach chotzim muta bein pasuach l'shrab bein pasuach l'karmelis sheyesh b'akeref. There's a heka, then you're allowed to. So here's Eli. First time we're using your sefer in the shir. Thank you. So in the this is a present from Eli, which is a new Mishnah Berurah with loads of pictures that he hasn't got in. This is on Chelik Daled. It's basically a Mishnah Berurah Chelik Dalet, so it's got the Tzuras Hadaf of the Mishnah Berurah, but it's just got loads more pictures than our Dirshu edition. So here you go. So he's sitting holding a chayfetz. What's he going to draw? What's he going to be holding? So this is the picture. He's sitting learning a sefer. Learning a sefer, right? That's what he's doing, right?
Is that sefer or Megillah?
No, that's I know what you're thinking. Oh, yeah, true. But we're talking. He's holding a sefer. So here we have. I don't know if you can see it, but basically you've got a korah underneath the Mavoi, and the point is you're allowed to carry under that area, under the Korah, but that's only on a occasional basis. But if he's sitting learning a sefer, then Chazal were worried that he'll schlep it out. Yeah, I'll pass it around if you want to have a look. So it's picture number 41. Okay. Is this on the whole Mishnah Berurah? Just on, I think on just Chelik Dalet. I don't think so. It's very good, very helpful. Okay. Unbelievable, no? Afal pi shemutz l'shtamish. Rotzalema says the Mishnah Berurah, the dafka al tzad hamikra, occasional things. V'izdamin mutar l'taltzil sham b'chafetz u'leis hatzorech. Then you're allowed to if you need to. Aval lo yeshiv sham b'kviyos v'chefetz b'yadei, but you can't sit there on a regular basis. Yeah, tachas hakera. And so too next to the lechi. And it could be that if there was not a lechi occur, but instead there was a tzuras haPesach, that would be okay. Why? The mikra kera tzuras haPesach is your heka. But tzuras haPesach shalonu, but our tzuras haPesachs shegver ma'id, which are very tall, but vadai also that would certainly not be okay. The less hakera, you haven't got your heka. Even if the Mavoi is open up onto a karmelis, do rak chashasha b'milsa drabanan, gamkein also the shikchelis shule is very easy to forget, and therefore you might slip up. Okay, good. Vov noshim hayoshvus al pesach hamavoi. Yeah, women who are sitting at the same spot as the picture we just saw, the entrance to the Mavoi, v'chadeihen b'yodon, and they're holding jugs. Ein memachin b'yodon. So even though we had a picture just now, we allowed the guy. Occasionally, there was on the occasional basis, but not a permanent basis. Women who are sitting there, ein memachin b'yodon. There, you don't have to protest against that. We're not worried. To keep in the midid rabbanon, who the whole thing is a rabbinical concern. Mutar shushoges v'le mezidos. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Sif Katan Lamed, va'afil b'midid deraisa ido inish leishman lanu. The rule is generally, even for a deraisa matter. We don't. If we're worried that they're not going to listen to us, whether it's man or woman, unless they're violating something which is mefurish in the Torah, because we come in Siman Tafresh Ches Sif Beis Ayin Sham. If you look at 37, what's the reason for that? Of Tamad Dava, he says, if it's not mefurish in the Torah, we can assume they're shegeg. And therefore, since they say it's shegeg, it's not mefurish in the Torah, and therefore they're shegeg, and therefore they might not listen. For better they're shegeg. You can't say they're shegeg about that. Okay, we'll get there, Mr. Shem, in Simon. Where is it? Shin Ayin, I think. Okay, good. Weiter, Zayin. Mavoi shenitlu kairosa v'lochayev b'Shabbos. Now, interesting case. So again, what is our structure? you've got two chatzeros with two batim in each chatzer, leading onto a mavoi, and the mavoi leading onto either a karmelis or a surabim. The classic structure we've been talking about all the way till now. But now you've got a problem because the mavoi, which has been fixed up with either a lechi or a korah, has broken. Shenitlu kairos of l'chayav Shabbos. Someone took away the kairos or the lechi. Afal pishe hutel mix Shabbos. Even though this only happened, let's say, on Shabbos morning, and therefore it was mutter when Shabbos came in. Also misham veilech. From the moment the korah or the lechi has been taken, it's no good. Bein pasuach l'shrab, bein pasuach l'karmelis. V'yesh misha emer tahani min be'er she'ein mukefes chayma. That's only true if the ear is not mukef chayma. Al be'er mukefes chayma mutter. Why? Because we'll see the Mishnah Berurah. V'yesh lismech al zeh lahat, and we can be semech on this. V'chol zeh shahayu rayu lamed kol haShabbos. That's only if this korah or lechi would have been able to stand the whole of Shabbos. It was, physically able to have stood the whole of Shabbos. It's just that someone took it away. I made lister mer Shabbos, but if it was so flimsy, it was going to break anyway at some point over Shabbos. Also la'achar shenistar, then it's also la'achar shenistar, after it's broken. V'im sofik im nistar mer Shabbos, and if you're not sure when it broke, azdin l'kula, then we are mekel. Says the Mishnah Berurah. Yes, yeah. We'll see the Mishnah Berurah, I think. Shenot lukaris of lechayav. Rotzalema lechi er kershel. It doesn't mean you've got two karis or two lechis. You need one. Te'ein mavoi ala kar echad ulechi echad. You only need one. V'hu adin k'shenitel tzuras haPesach, and so too if it was fixed up by way of tzuras haPesach lefi min hagenu shano isin tzuras haPesach. Again, if it was taken away, then it's also mishon ve'elach. So
if you have both and they take one away, if you have a left
so then you don't need both. You only need one, and if you've got one, you're okay. It's fixed. You only need either a korah or a lechi to fix the mavoi. So if you've got both and you've got one remaining, you're sorted. Belt and braces. Also mishon ve'elach letaltel el betoich arba amas. So from then on you can't carry. But only in Arba Amas. And so too you can't carry from the house out to it. And we don't say Shabbos, since it was okay when at the onset of Shabbos, it's okay for the rest of Shabbos. Like we said previously, because at the end of the day, we haven't got mechitzas in this situation. Interestingly, can you fix it? So he refers back to a bio halacha in Shin Samach Gimel. So I'll just tell you, interesting, that what he says over there, Shin Samach, sorry. Can you get a non-Jewish person to fix it if your Erev is broken on Shabbos? So he says, the Mishnah Berurah says in Reish Ayin Vov, even if it involves a deraisa, you're allowed to tell a non-Jewish person to fix the Erev. Imagine that the whole people are carrying in town, and you haven't got an Erev, so it's a deraisa. So says in Mishnah Berurah there, you can tell a guy to fix the Erev, even to do the deraisa, there shouldn't be a michshel that people will carry. And then he adds that the Bihalacha says, this is what he was referring to, i.e. if you can do it without doing a deraisa, better to tell the non-Jewish person to fix it by way of violating a drabonon than a deraisa, shuz to shuz, but if you can, but otherwise you're allowed to tell him a deraisa. Okay, weiter. Sif Kotan Lamed Gimel, Mukefes Chaymes Mutter. But we said if the whole city has got a wall around it, then because that way the whole city is one big Rish Sayachid.
Why didn't you in the first place?
Yeah, because I guess good question. I think Minat Torah is considered a Rish Sayachid, but not more. And the whole purpose of the Mavoi, I guess this is your point, Yossi, it's to remove the halachic concerns of the Nochrim who are living there. That would be okay. Because essentially what is it? It's shtei chatzeros which haven't made an eruv. For nofel koisel amasik benehen, there the Amrinum we say Shabbos hoel v'hutra hutra mishum demechitza chitzonos chayomas V'hachanami b'chiyai gavna. V'kosva taz, v'davka yoshva al b'soif hukva. With what sort of mukaf chem are we talking about? Where they were living in that town and then they later built up the wall around it. Kastam Shalom, like in most of our situations. But if it was the other way around, it was mukaf, and then people started living there. It hasn't got a din of a Rishayachid, it's only got a din of a din Carmelis, but also tikkun Mavoi lahati atilta v'nofel hatikun, and you fix up the Mavoi and then it breaks. Also, then it would be also the hari mechsred mechitzas or pasuach the Carmelis, because there's no mechitza, it's open to a Carmelis, and therefore we're more concerned. Oimid lisase, what's this going on? This is the Ramah. V'yesh lismech hazel hatil v'chol zeh shehoyoroi lamed kol haShabbos. That it was physically was able to stand. But im hoya omed lister me'er Shabbos, if it was very fragile, kagoin b'mekayim shematzuyim nachrim shemakalkelen oisam b'leil Shabbos v'karav levad shoyim mekalkeluhu. Okay, not because of the physical quality of the eruv, but because we were worried that people are going to come along, nachrim are going to come along and break the eruv. Then not. And if you're not sure of him, sofik him lister me'er Shabbos alone, when it broke, ozin lekula. Ein oimed lister kai. Yes, it's going on that last point. I think that was your point. Ozin lekula to mukminu lach koso the hashtu nishbar. Okay, good. Let's just finish off the simon. Ches mavu shenishtatfu boy v'nishbar kaira. So you've got a mavui, so lots of chaseres leading into it, and you've got a kaira across the top, and it was nishtatfu boy. They made a shituf mavois. Eisa chotz l'sher of munach boy. That eruv. That chotzer, where the eruv was placed in it, the chatzeres hapsuchos loy, and there are other chatzeres that are leading on to that particular chotzer, are there all mutter. Avol chatzeres she'ein pasuchos loy chotzer, but chatzeres which are not opened up onto that chotzer asuros, they would be asa. Okay, says the Mishnah Berurah, Lamed Zayin, she'nishtatfu boy rotzolema, she'also rak shitufim mevuos. They just did a shitufim mevuos, v'loy also eruv chatzeres. Okay, and then we're going to come to all these halachas mitzvah in more detail. But they only did a shituf mevois, they didn't do an erev chatzeres. Kol echad b'fnei atzmim b'chatzer, and each one in their own little chatzer. Afal pichein mahani, nevertheless it works. The shituf mevois works to allow you to carry not just in the mavoi, but also in the smaller chatzeres. Why? Because the kamal and kam siman shin pen zayin. In a situation where you could have done an erev, the shituf will tick the box. So you can carry not only in the chotzer where the erev is munach, but also in the chatzeres which lead on to that chotzer, rotzolema, she'es pesach chaloin shecholin tarta lahavi mizulazu shalot kaderech hamavui. Then you can go through the individual chatzeres, from one to the other. She'ein pesuches rotzolema afilu ha'imdas b'tzad chotzezu given she'ein lohem pesach chalon leisa chotzer asuras, but not to the chatzeres where you could not access the lesser le'erev gabayo, because the erev doesn't extend to them. V'lo motzil asur le'erev derech mavui given she'nishbar kaira, and you can't go via the mavui because the kaira is broken. V'davka k'shenishbar tikun ha'mavui b'chol. Dafka, where it broke during the week, avol nishba b'Shabbos, but here in this situation, if it broke on Shabbos itself, shari l'talta b'chol ha'chatzeres, kivin sha'erev hoyu kayim b'ben hashmoshes. Then you would be allowed to carry in the chatzeres because the erev was in place at ben hashmoshes. V'afinu m'chotzer l'chotzer shari, and even from one chotzer to the next would be okay. Bein derech p'sachim shebeneim, bein derech chayrin, whether through entrances or through windows or holes or things like that. V'kivin shehutzah migzah Shabbos, hutzah l'chol ha'Shabbos, uchud l'kaman reish siman shin ayin dalet, v'rak derech hamavi also l'taltel. Good. Asuros, but the other chatzeres are going to be also da. The eisen chatzeres hasuros l'taltel. Afilu b'bayis echod also mecheder lecheder. Even in one house, from one room to the other, in bekol cheder dar adam echod b'fnei atzmai. If they're in different people living in different rooms in that same chotzer, and my room is my room, your room is your room, and I can't go into your room. You got to warn people of this point. Interestingly, if you look at 42, he says this is very relevant. We'll talk about this in more detail in Shinayin, but he says Dovazeh Motzu bebeit malon bebeis cholim. In a hotel or a hospital, this is very prevalent. So the Mishnah will talk about that in more detail in Shinayin. V'chein tzarich lahazkiv b'mkemos sheyesh lohem lechi oy Korah oy tzuras haPesach v'nishbar hatikun ba'is Mavoi shel beis hakneses. That you've got in that Mavoi a shul shemunach shama erev, and often the erev is placed in the shul v'chiyah gavna im nishbar b'chol. If it broke during the week, shelei taltzenu shuv b'chol ha'mevuos afilu yesh lohem tikun b'fnei atzon, that you can't carry now on Shabbos in this place. Elim kein hu be'inyan shechoyin lavi ha'erev el etzlam beis hakneses, unless you can somehow bring the erev from the beis hakneses, because that's your focal point. V'da'oid the mokum she'ein oisin tikun mevuos ba'ir tzarich lizoy shelo yasu erev v'chatzeres elim kein yesh al kol ponim ba'is ha'chotz shnei batim v'uadin shnei batim zeh k'neged zeh, or pirho is b'nei, which means a prosdor, or corridor, ay shnei chadarim ha'psuchim lebayis echod, ay b'chotz ha'asom asmuch lohem, b'inu she'cholim lahavi ha'erev etlam derech pesach chalem b'shabbos, that you can actually bring the erev to that point. V'kos v'achreinim, to ba'ofen zeh shelei also tikun lemevuos, lo yanicha erev b'beis hakneses kanog, rak be'achad be'batim, better to leave it in one of the houses, v'im also kain, and if you didn't, also l'talta afil b'chotz be'beis hakneses, even in the chotz of the shul you can't carry, al smach erev shemunach be'beis hakneses, based on the erev that you put in the shul. Okay, Beseda. Mr. Shem will do next and tomorrow.